एवरीवन, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल द सोलफुल डायरी। आज के वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे फिलिप लार्किन की पोम डेज के बारे में। पोएट के बारे में हम पहले एक वीडियो में डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, जिसका लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में। चलिए आज पोम को इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करते हैं। पोम को इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करने से पहले जान लेते हैं उसके कुछ की फीचर्स। Days by Philip Larkin is a beautiful poem that contemplates life in a poet's typical fashion. He asks the reader to consider what are days for. This is one of his least verbose and becomingly simple at first, but strict it back and you will soon see some of Larkin's trademark themes like life, death, universe. It's all in there. It is a short and enigmatic poem. There is no story, no character, simply a brief contemplation of the meaning. The tone is conversational and the language is accessible, which is again typical of Larkin, who wanted to take poetry from the literati and give it back to the masses. This was published in the Whitsun Wedding, published by Faber and Faber in 1967, and preceded by his collection The Less Deceived. Larkin is known as one of Britain's most famous post-war poets, and many of his poems in both these anthologies deal with themes of existential angst and the futility of life. This is a 10-line poem in two stanzas of 6 and 4 lines respectively. It is almost a mini-sonnet, especially given the volta, which occurs at line 7. There's no such thing as a mini-sonnet. There's some of the typical whimsy. There is no rhyme scheme to speak of except perhaps if you consider the internal rhyme of the frequently repeated keywords such as this, day, and time. Yeah. चलिए पोम को इन डेप्थ डिस्कस करते हैं. What are days for? Days are where we live. They come, they wake us, time and time over. They're to be happy in. Where can we live but days? The first stanza is composed of short sentences and opens with a question that is answered simplistically, as I said before, as though a parent trying to explore the concept of life to a small child. There is a sense of innocence in both the question and the response, with the monosyllabic words chiming gently as though in a nursery rhyme or fable. Repetition is put to good use to make the reply simple and easy to digest, but also implicit in the meaning that days from our existence and thus are by definition repetitive. There is something warm and comforting about the explanation in lines 2 and 6. And usually for Larkin, he states in line 5, there are to be happy in, and we feel a flood of warmth for the speaker as we are unfamiliar with this side of him. There is a cyclical aspect to this stanza as it begins and ends with a question, which goes on to be addressed but definitely not answered in the next verse. Stanza 2. Solving that question brings the priest and the doctor in their long coats running over the fields. The tone changes in the second stanza. The comma after elongates the sound and suggests the speaker uttering a word weary sigh. He chooses the transitive verb solving to show that the experts, the priest and the doctor, are searching for an answer that they have yet to find. The calm and soothing feel of the first stanza is lost and replaced by a more urgent tone, for it brings them running over the fields. Normally, the pastoral image of fields would be peaceful, but this is subverted here to show the tranquility shattered by the men's haste as though they are tending to an emergency. This sense is emphasized by the image of the long coats, an image that could be frightening for a child. We associate the long coats with those in professional employ, but also implicit here is the symbol of men in white coats, which suggests that if one were to ponder too long on the mysteries of life, we could end up in a loony bin. The fact that Larkin chooses the priest and the doctor to try and solve the mystery is significant as they signify the age-old conflict between science and religion. After the short, concise sentences of stanza 1, this is long unpunctuated sentence aside from the comma after the and the full stop at the end. Poetic devices. In Days by Philip Larkin, several poetic devices are employed to explore the themes of life, mortality, and the passage of time. These include repetition, particular of the word days, to emphasize their cyclical nature and pervasiveness in human existence. The poem also utilizes rhetorical questions, what are days for, to prompt reflection on the purpose of life and the human condition. Furthermore, the poem features a Volta or turn in the seventh line, shifting from a focus on the present to contemplating what lies beyond life, possibly death. Repetition. The word days is repeated throughout the poem, highlighting its central role in the human experience. This repetition also contributes to a sense of relentless flow of time and the mundane nature of daily life. Rhetorical question. The opening line, what are days for, immediately engages the reader in a philosophical inquiry about the meaning of life and its purpose. This question is not meant to be answered directly, but rather to provoke thoughts and contemplation. Volta turn. The poem shifts focus after the first six lines, moving from the question of what days are for the question of where else could one could live besides days. This turn introduces the idea of mortality and the possibility of an existence beyond the realm of days, potentially suggesting death as an alternative. Colloquial tone. Larkin's style is known for its use of everyday language and a conversational tone, making the poem relatable and accessible to the reader. Ambiguity. While the poem touches on mortality, it also leaves room for interpretation. The references to a doctor and a priest racing to find something beyond the days could be interpreted as a search for meaning, an afterlife, or even a contemplation of suicide. Themes. The main themes explored in Philip Larkin's poem Days are the meaning of life, the passage of time, and the inevitability of death. The poem questions the purpose of daily life and the monotonous cycle of existence while also contemplating what lies beyond the realm of days. Meaning of life and time. The poem opens with the question, what are days for? Which immediately establishes a sense of questioning the purpose of life's daily routine. The repetition of this question throughout the poem emphasizes the speaker's uncertainty and existential weariness. The poem suggests that life is a series of mundane days and humans have no choice but to live within this framework. The inevitability of death. The poem alludes to the end of life through the imagery of the priest and doctor who represent religion and science respectively, racing to find answers about what happens after death. This suggests that even with religious or scientific attempts to understand or conquer death, it remains an inescapable reality. Existential despair. The poem hints at a sense of existential despair as the speaker grapples with the repetitive nature of days and the lack of inherent meaning. The attempt to find deeper meaning through religion or science seems futile, leading to a feeling of confinement within the cycles of days, monotony, and routine. The poem uses repetition and a cyclical structure to reflect the repetitive nature of daily life. This repetition highlights the sense of monotony and a feeling that days are simply passing by without any significant purpose. Optimism versus pessimism. While the poem states that days are to be happy in, this is often interpreted as ironic, with the speaker's tone suggesting a more pessimistic outlook. The poem ultimately implies that death might be the only escape from the constraints and monotony of daily life. थैंक यू। आई होप आज की वीडियो आपको पसंद है। कैसी लगी हमें कमेंट करके बताएं और हमें ये भी कमेंट करके बताएं कि आप आने वाली वीडियो किस टॉपिक पर देखना चाहते हैं। अगर वीडियो अच्छी लगी तो लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू माई चैनल। मिलते हैं कल एक और इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो के साथ शाम 4 बजे। टिल देन कीप वॉचिंग एंड कीप सपोर्टिंग द सोलफुल डायरी। थैंक यू।